In the last video, you guys watched me preheat our JK Dana 30 housing. You also watched me weld the truss on, and then you watched me bring the temp down slowly so that those welds didn't crack. And once we were done with that, we hit it with some paint. We coated our fresh build in some Seymour primer, and then we used their high solids flat black enamel to give this thing a really nice look. So now we're going to reinstall the carrier and the ring gear. We're then going to put the housing underneath of the Jeep before we do anything else to it, so we don't have to carry around some big heavy axle. So we're going to clean any debris out with some brake cleaner, and then we're going to get it ready for the carrier and the ring gear to go back in. We also have our labeled bags with the shims and the bearing caps. Then we got some gear oil to lube up all these bearings before it goes in. Now with the housing clean, we're going to go ahead and toss in some new axle seals. We're going to go ahead and use our axle seal press tool. This thing's really easy to use. Just toss the seal on the end, line it up, and then you tighten this nut, which pushes the seal in. If you're doing axle seals and you don't have this tool, I highly recommend picking it up. It's like 20 bucks and well worth it. Now with this side pressed all the way in and seated, we're going to go ahead and remove the tool. We'll flip it around and we'll do the same to the other side. Just toss the new seal onto the tool, and then we're going to go ahead and pop it into place, and then we'll tighten the nut down once more and we'll push that seal in. Now with that one fully seated as well, we'll go ahead and get our tool out of there. Just as easy as putting it in. Just loosen the nut and pop it right out. And now we've got two fresh axle seals. We shouldn't have any leaks here, but I guess the only way to tell is when we put it all back together. So now we're going to go ahead and move to the carrier. So we're going to actually be reusing these bearings. They're still very smooth. There's no real marks on the races, and there's no chips out of them or anything like that. So we are going to take some gear oil and we'll just put some on these bearings. That way they're lubed up, ready to go once they're inside the house. So we'll just take a little bit of gear oil and put it on the bearing. Then we'll go ahead and just give it a spin. We probably don't really have to do this, but it's just one of those things that I like to do when putting an axle back together. But now we know that there is definitely gear oil in these bearings to start. Now we're going to go ahead and toss the carrier into the housing itself. This is very easy. It only goes in one way, so if you haven't done this before, don't worry, you can't screw it up. Then we're going to go ahead and take our two shims out of our bags. Keep in mind which side they're on. We're going to give it a little clean up with some brake clean and get all the old debris and gunk off this thing. And then we're going to go ahead and toss this in the housing. Now in this factory setup Dana 30, there's just two really thick shims. On your shim pack, it might look a little bit different, but we're going to go ahead and move that bearing race all the way up against the carrier. That'll give us the room we need to slip this thing into place. You just want to make sure you don't like scratch anything up in there. But we've got that one tossed in. Now we're going to go ahead and work on the other side. A case spreader definitely helps with some things like this, but it's not necessary. We're going to go ahead and give this one a quick spray down with some brake clean as well. Both of these were pretty nasty coming out of the axle. They've just been sitting in gear oil for the last like 5 years, and this thing was pretty abused before. But everything looked good reassembling it, so I'm confident to put this under our Jeep. But with that cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and toss this in just like we did the first side. This side will definitely be a little tighter to fit in just because the other side's already installed, but we'll go ahead and get this slid in there. With the carrier fully assembled, we went ahead and toss in our bearing caps. You do want to make sure you keep those on the correct side. We're going to go around and just hand tighten these down, and then we'll come back through with a torque wrench. The torque spec for these is 55 foot-pounds. So we set our torque wrench to 55, and then we'll go through and torque these down. These are something you definitely want to torque down and have set correctly. Now with that all back together, we can go ahead and toss the diff cover back on. We are going to be swapping this out, but for now we want it on there to protect everything. Now we got to go ahead and take the front axle out of this Jeep so we can make room for the other one. Way off topic, but if you guys don't have one of these Harbor Freight jacks and you have a gravel driveway, I highly recommend picking one up. They're a game changer. But now onto the Jeep. So we're obviously going to have to remove the control arms. We got 3 of those, wheels and tires. We're going to have to remove the sway bars, and I'm not sure if those are going to line up on the next axles. We'll figure that out. Springs, steering, shocks, and besides that, this thing's pretty much ready to come out. That shouldn't be too difficult to remove. We've only got 3 control arms, probably 10 bolts altogether holding this in. And then the brakes, which we are going to have to swap the brakes to a JK style brake setup, since the WJ brakes I don't think work on these axles. Now with the tires off, we've got access to everything here. We've lowered the axle down pretty low to the ground, and then we've got a jack stand set as high as we can go. But the suspension travels a lot, so it's kind of difficult to get this axle out from here. The sway bar links all twisted up, but that's not really much of an issue. Springs are basically ready to come out. We'll be able to drop this axle down low enough to drop those. Shocks are still attached, and we got to remove these 3 control arms. For the brakes, I'm just going to cut the ABS wire, and we're going to rewire in the JK setup, and then the brake lines, I'm just going to remove the brake line. It should be relatively straightforward. And then we're going to remove the steering probably at the pitman arm if I can get that bolt off. All right, so all 3 control arms have been dropped now. We've got them disconnected. The top one's still sitting on top. So now we're going to move on to the steering. I could not get that upper nut off of there. The cotter pin broke off inside and just don't feel like dealing with that right now. So we're going to remove the steering down here. Then we got to get the shocks off, and then this thing should be ready to slide out. So the bolts on the shocks are seized up, and we're just going to take care of that once the axle's off the Jeep. So what I'm going to do is just remove the nut on top and drop that out. So now that that's done, we've got everything disconnected. I did get the brake line off of the brake caliper, and I just cut the ABS line down here. We'll be wiring in the JK setup, and the plug's up higher, so I figured we'll just go ahead and cut that. I don't need these sensors for anything. The spring should drop out when we drop the axle out, I'm hoping. I don't have a spring compressor tool, so that is what we're hoping for right now, but we'll see how that goes. And now this thing should pretty much just slide out from under the Jeep. That spring's gonna fall out, but besides that, this thing should be ready to come out. Before we install anything, we're going to go ahead and clean up these inner fenders here. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a wire wheel on this drill, and we'll go ahead and sand down any rust we have, and we'll go ahead and give this a nice coat of all black paint. We'll use the same paint that we painted the axle housings in. That way it all matches and looks really good. Now is the easiest time to access all this stuff though. And in the future, I don't want to really deal with any rust here. And we are going to be cleaning up these fenders a little bit from my messed up cuts in the past. Now that we've got 37s back on it, we'll really be able to clearance this up and get this set up. Also, side note, anybody who has done the windshield wiper reservoir like relocation, who has the evap set up, because I need to figure out how to delete that so I can run the ZJ bottle. So if you have any info on fully deleting that, let me know. On the black WJ, we just went ahead and tossed that on top of the tank tuck, but it was already mounted in the back. On this Jeep, it's mounted under the hood, and it's definitely in the way. Now with that cleaned up, we're going to give it a coat of this high solids enamel from Seymour. Again, it's the same paint we used on the axles. I figured we'd make it all match and it would look the best. And we'll go ahead and give this a nice coat of paint. Now after paint, this looks much, much better. It's still got to dry a little bit, but this looks really, really nice being all one color again. And then we've went ahead and done the other side as well. One thing I'm noticing though, and I have no idea where it went, but I'm missing my spring retainer on the passenger side. So I'm gonna have to pick up another one of those and it should look like this. But let's get back to work on the axles. So with that axle out of the way, we are still gonna have to remove the shocks. But as you can see why I did it this way, we have access to the bottom so we can get on those nuts that we're twisting. And we should be able to get that off pretty easily. We are gonna have to reuse those shocks. The steering, I gotta get that upper nut off. However, the cotter pin snapped off in there, so it's going to take a little bit of work to get to. The control arms should all be good. They haven't rotated, twisted, or anything like that. This will need an alignment when it's done, but it needed one before, so I figured we'll go ahead and swap the axles and then get the alignment. And it'll be nice to replace this axle, because had we kept it, we would have needed to do a ton of work anyway to rebuild it. So this axle swap really isn't a crazy expense compared to rebuilding that. So I went ahead and just tossed the new one in there. I put the control arms in. The upper joint is going to need to be drilled out. The JK Dana 30 uses a bigger bolt up there, but that's not really an issue. And then the lower control arms, they both lined up pretty well. It took a little bit of moving around of the housing to get it set up down there. Now this isn't centered. The springs seemed like they were either going to be an extremely tight fit on those spring perches or they're not going to fit. I think the best way to test that is going to be put it on there, put some pressure on the axle going up, and then see if it'll slip down onto the spring perch. From what I've seen online, this should work. However, mine look to be very, very tight. So I'm going to go ahead and toss in the springs, as you can see, and I'm going to put some pressure on this going up. And now you can see that they're not really seating over top of that spring perch. It's basically the same size as the hole in between, like the springs in the middle. So it's not seating down. I'm going to try to just smack it with the hammer and see if it'll seat itself. On the bright side, if it does, this will make it much harder for that spring to fall out when we're off-roading. But we'll see how this works. If not, we're going to have to figure something out there. We'll probably have to chop the spring perch off and weld on maybe a tube that's the right diameter to fit inside of the spring. I'm not sure how we'll go about that. Hopefully we don't have to even worry about that. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and measure for the track bar, and we're going to get this axle as centered as we can here in the driveway. And once that's done, we'll be able to rebuild everything here. We have a super cool steering setup for this in the garage. I'm really excited to see this all put together, and I'm also excited to not have to rebuild that axle down there. This isn't a crazy improvement because it's still a Dana 30, but being high pinion, a little bit stronger, a little bit wider, and this one being sleeved, gusseted, trussed, and everything, this should be a pretty big improvement over the factory setup. But let me grab my hammer and see if we can fix this spring. And like I thought, it is an extremely tight fit, I will say that. And I didn't really see anybody saying how tight of a fit this was going to be, but with a couple hits of the hammer, it did seat down there. And I don't think it's going anywhere. It's really on that spring perch, but we got it to seat, so I'm super glad about that. That was definitely a concern I had because I did not feel like pulling this thing back out and welding up new spring perches. I also don't think them being a slight amount wider because it's a JK axle is really going to impact anything. I think we'll be good, but we're kind of at a standstill now. We're waiting for some new hub bolts to arrive that seem to be possibly lost in the mail, but once those arrive, we'll definitely get this axle tossed back together, and then we'll move to the back Dana 44. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm super excited to get this thing back on the trails and to wrap up this axle swap. So as always, I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks so much for watching.